What's going on, everybody? This is your girl Timothy Marie, also known as T-Tight-You, and here is how I revamp my old vases. So here they are beforehand. I have had these vases or vases or whatever you want to call them for several years, 10 at least, and I wanted to resurface them or repurpose them for my updated fireplace. So I'm wiping them off first before I paint them with Windex. Just getting any dust off. They're really not dirty, but they were a little dusty, so I'm wiping that all off. And I'm also going to use Rust-Olium Universal hammered spray paint. This silver spray paint basically has a finish that looks like hammered metal, so I'm going to use that around the base of each vase. And then the white color is also by Rust-Oleum, and it's just called Satin White, but it has a really pretty finish as well. I'm using heavy masking tape to cover the ropes because I still like that feature, and I want to keep that the same when I paint them white. So I really want to make sure that the tape is secure. I pay extra attention to crease the tape around the base of where the rope begins, just kind of pressing it in with my fingernail because I really don't want any white paint to get on the rope. If white paint gets on the rope, it's going to ruin what the whole design looks like. I don't know if you've ever tried to wipe off spray paint, but it is really hard to get off, and most of the time it doesn't come off. So I don't want to get it onto anything else. I'm also going to take newspaper, and I'm going to reuse this newspaper throughout this project. I fold it in half, and then somewhat the bigger pieces I kind of fold into a third to wrap them around the base of each vase because I want to start with the white paint, and I don't want to get unnecessary paint onto the area that I'm going to spray paint silver. And if I have to use a second piece like this, I want to also make sure that the line sort of matches up seamlessly with the other piece that I used first, so the line doesn't end up crooked once I actually start to paint. Alright, so now I've taken them outside because this is going to get messy. I did put a drop cloth down, but as you can see, the nozzle on the opening of this paint is really wide. And I love the way that it coats because it goes on really smoothly, and as you can see, it's already starting to get shiny. So it does have a very pretty finish, but it did kind of get everywhere. So if you're going to use this particular brand of paint, do it in an area that's open and outdoors so that it's not going to get on everything else. I also did use 2 coats of the white. I don't film the second coat, but I did after I took everything down because some of the newspaper's ink did bleed onto the white when I spray painted the silver sections. Alright, so I do allow about 10 to 15 minutes for it to dry before I apply the masking tape around the base of where the white tape ends. I'm sorry, where the white paint ends. Basically, I'm doing this so that the silver line is straight. I want the white and the silver to meet and be seamless and not bleed onto each other. So using a masking tape or a heavy-duty tape, not as heavy as anything like duct tape, but masking tape doesn't stick too much, but it also provides a straight edge line that goes around the base. So my line came up really neatly. This is the part where I'm covering up the white that I've already done with newspaper so that there isn't any splashback from the silver paint. Now this is where the ink did bleed a little bit from the newspaper onto the white. So I did put a second coat on after that, and it covered very smoothly. There was no issue with recovering it, but if I were to ever do this again, I would probably just use plain wrapping paper instead of newspaper because the ink can bleed a little bit. So I've already started to spray the bottom with the silver. This is a lot thicker than the white, paint was, and it did take a little longer to dry, especially because it's trying to establish that hammered metal look. I'll be honest, it doesn't look exactly like hammered metal. You can definitely tell the difference in real hammered metal in comparison to the paint. But I do like the way that the paint turned out. It did give it sort of a rough finish. It does look hammered. It just doesn't look like how it would if it were real metal. But it does do the trick for the purpose of being a really pretty design. So I do like it. It did turn out really nice. I would use it again. I think my expectations were a little high when I bought this. So I did allow about 15 minutes in between each coat for the metal, silver metal color as well. And then I just let them sit outside for about an hour and a half before I came back out to take all of the paper off and all of the tape off. And they were looking pretty good. I like the way the line turned out, especially at the bottom. So when I brought them back in, I just took off the remaining masking tape that was wrapped around the ropes, and as you can see, it turned out really nicely. There wasn't any white paint that bled onto the ropes. I think they look really pretty. I was happy with them. And so now I'm just taking a few floral arrangements that I found from Michael's. I absolutely love these, and here's the final look. Thanks so much for watching. If you would like to see me resurface my fireplace, I do that, and I'll clip a card above so that you can click on to see that. But in the meantime, thanks. Bye-bye.